And no doubt the families of these hostages grateful to both President Trump and President Biden for their efforts to help bring their family members home. But was there a bit of an uncomfortable moment here when he was sort of equating the
first item that
hostages in Gaza with the J6 prisoners who have been convicted?
I don't think we need to remind people of just how brutal being in captivity, a captive of Hamas and the associated terror organizations, held in underground tunnels, raped, taken against your will, could be versus the justice system having a day in court and actual charges and lawyers surrounding you. There is no comparison.
Let's listen into what these executive orders are.
President Trump is a regulatory freeze, as you announced in your speech, preventing bureaucrats from issuing any more regulations until we have full control of this, the government and this administration. Thank you, sir.
Sir, can I have a pen?
The next item, sir, is a freeze on all federal hiring, excepting the military and a number of other excluded categories, again, until full control of the government is achieved and we understand the objectives of government going forward.
Could you imagine Biden doing this? I don't think so. I don't think so.
Sir, the next item, as you announced in your speech, is a requirement that federal workers return to full-time in-person work immediately. Thank you, sir. Next, we have a directive to every department and agency in the federal government to address the cost of living crisis that has cost Americans so dearly. Thank you, sir. The next item here is the withdrawal from the Paris Climate Treaty. Yes, sir. We're going to save over $1 trillion by withdrawing from that treaty. And the next item, sir, is a letter that will be transmitted to the United Nations explaining that we are withdrawing from the Paris Climate Treaty. Thank you, sir. This next item is a directive to the federal government ordering the restoration of freedom of speech and preventing government censorship of free speech going forward. And lastly, sir, before we go back to the Oval Office to sign a large number of other items, is a directive to the federal government ending the weaponization of government against the political adversaries of the previous administration, as we've seen. Thank you very much, sir. Appreciate it. Pretty fun job.
And President Trump throwing some of his famous Sharpie pens into the crowd as he has just signed a number of these executive orders. And Ed O'Keefe is our senior White House correspondent. And Ed, these were not the orders on immigration. Those could come later tonight. But what was there?
No, as we watch the presidential version of a T-shirt toss here in the arena, he essentially began by reversing a series of Biden-era policies. We don't know yet exactly which ones, but the aide there said 78 of them, and put a freeze on regulatory work by any federal agency, quote, until we have full control. Freeze on federal hiring, sending most federal employees back to the office immediately if they aren't already. Important to point out there, though, there are several big agencies like IRS or the Federal Trade Commission that have separate labor negotiations and agreements that actually are going to allow some employees to keep working from home, which he'll not like, but which is just reality. Withdrawing from the Paris Climate Treaty. And we are expecting later tonight the executive orders on immigration. And he teased there pardons for January 6th defendants. Remember, we said there are about 250 of the 1,600 who have been imprisoned, incarcerated for violent offenses like violence against police officers on that day. But you heard the president there say pardons for them are coming, and incredibly equated those January 6th defendants with the hostages being held by Hamas in the Middle East right now.
Scott MacFarlane, those pardons have not yet come, but President Trump promising them. What do we know about whether that could mean some of them are released tonight?
There's a growing expectation there's going to be wide swaths of pardons and releases imminently. There's a crowd outside the Washington, D.C. jail where a couple dozen of the defendants have been held. There are hundreds more elsewhere in the nation, and Nora, there is a sense it's a matter of when, not if, there are mass releases.
And Robert Costa, as we look at what happened today, and a remarkable comeback for Donald Trump, who was defeated by Joe Biden after his first term in office and now has come back in this remarkable moment, has escaped prosecution, was under indictment, and yet now this governing now with a mandate, in his words.
It is the culmination of a remarkable story in American history. To think about in 2015 when he launched his campaign, few expected him to ever win the nomination, let alone the presidency twice after dealing with legal ups and downs, political ups and downs. But now he is ready to use his power. That just came through in him signing these executive orders. He's already making calls to Congress, talking to leaders on Capitol Hill. And as he told me over the weekend, get ready. And he said, be calm. He said he knows a lot of people in this country are on edge about him coming back. But he said at this point in his life and his career, people should watch what he does, see what happens. And that's what we'll do.
There was a lot of talk of grievance today. He's very sensitive on some things. But what a key Republican once explained to me, the thing about Donald Trump is he has an extraordinary pain threshold. He's going to do things and people are going to say, that's crazy, it'll never work. Thinking back to that ride down the escalator, the things he said in that speech about immigration, oh, he's going to drop out immediately. He's weathered through all of this. And now in particular, all those people who said this is going to be bad and so forth and so on, that gives him the kind of serenity to go through all of what is going to be a very active and chaotic period.
Margaret?
Strap in.
Yeah.
We'll be busy.
On day one of the Trump presidency, we are told he will be in the Oval Office tonight for more executive orders and actions as Trump promises what he called today in his inaugural address a revolution of common sense, a crackdown on immigration, and changes to the federal bureaucracy and more. For some of you, the CBS Evening News is next, and tune in for our primetime special at 10 Eastern. For all of our correspondents and guests at CBS News, and thank you for joining us for the past 10 hours straight as we cover the inauguration of Donald Trump, our 47th president. Thank you for watching. I'm Nora O'Donnell.